start with Barry in the second row on your right.
Hey, Aaron, this is just a general bullpen question for you. When did this whole thing about high leverage relievers and low leverage relievers start? I mean, I remember the day when everybody in the bullpen could just about do everything. Now, I know that closers have a different temperament. A little bit, you have to be able to want to go in the ninth inning. But why isn't everybody able to do everything in the bullpen these days?
I mean, that's sports. That's what separates great from good, good from average, average from not here. I mean, that's life. Like that's we're competing in the sports, and that's how you differentiate between what a great player is. That's the best I can say it, I guess.
Isn't there something about average players being able to do multiple jobs rather than one specific job, or you rely on one specific guy to do one thing and another?
Can you give me an example of what you're talking about?
Well, like last night is a good example. I mean, the Dodgers used what they call their low leverage relievers in that game last night.
Mm-hmm.
And their higher leverage relievers are now rested to pitch today.
Mm-hmm.
And they used a few of those to get out of game 2 behind Bueller. That's basically what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I mean, look, you're going to find yourself in situations where a quote-unquote low-leverage guy is in a big moment, maybe in the biggest moment of a season. So at the end of the day, your players, relievers, coaches are trying to get guys to be the best they can possibly be, whatever situation they're in. So, yeah, I mean, it's the best I could say it, I guess.
Go to Andy in the next row.
Question about Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Swing decisions and the chase and stuff like that seems like it's improved over the past maybe 2 games, say. I'm just wondering what you've seen in that trajectory toward him starting to get that back, and how much better he is than he was a few games before that, how far he has to go, like where he's at in terms of getting that timing. Seems better to the naked eye a little bit.
Yeah, I thought he had good at-bats last night. So, hopefully that carries into today. With Aaron, it's always one pitch away from, getting as hot as anyone's ever seen. So I thought he had good at-bats last night, and hopefully that carries into today.
He's taking pitches that maybe he was offering at earlier in the series, you think?
Yeah, I thought he did a good job of that last night. I thought he got a lot of good swings off. I thought he controlled the zone. Again, a lot of times, though, that's mechanical, too. Like, that's getting yourself into, and again, everyone's a little bit different how they get there, but you get into strong positions, and usually that's when you're able to make your best swing decisions.
And right behind Andy, Aaron.
Aaron, what impressed you the most about Gerrit's start in Game 1?
I thought he made some really good adjustments. I think he does a really good job in game of knowing what's working for him, knowing how to make adjustments on the fly. I thought he was really pitch efficient. For the most part, gain count leverage throughout the night, which is really always important, I guess, but certainly against this Dodger team, you gotta go into the strike zone. You can't, and you got to get ahead of these guys because they feast as much as anyone when they get that count leverage or get ahead in the count. So I thought he did a good job of all that.
Stay there with Tyler in the same row.
Aaron, not to divulge all of your pitching plans, obviously, but if you wanted to let Gerrit go a little bit longer tonight and just maybe probably last start of the year, is that an option, or is it more like, hey, 6 good innings or whatever and then the bullpen?
No, it's always the game will tell you. And so he's always capable of going deep into the game, and we'll see how he's doing tonight and how it's going, and hopefully he does get us deep into the game.
Right behind Tyler, Tim.
When you think about what the Yankees already have done this year, what you want to continue to do in the coming seasons, how significant is Carlos Rodon's overall body of work and his bounce back and his really stabilizing after, a rough debut year?
Huge. Super proud of him. Last season was rough. I mean, no bones about it. It got off to a rough start, was kind of a minor injury out of camp, and then as he's coming back, another little setback, another kind of minor injury, but it caused him to miss at least 2-3 months of the season. So now all of a sudden you're this big signing, you're trying to find your way in a new team, new town, and it's just very middling in the results game the second half of the season. To his credit, to say he got after it this winter in every regard, I need to get better at pitching. I need to be connected with strength and conditioning trainers, our pitching group, and make sure I am in the best possible position coming to spring training. He did that. I feel like he developed a really good routine in spring training. So, the biggest thing I wanted him going into this year was because everything was going to be all eyes on, right? His first spring training start. Oh, what's this look like? His first start in the regular season. And my focus, what I wanted his biggest focus to be was do everything to get yourself ready to go to the post every day. I want you to take the ball 30 times this year. Boom, he's done that. But he's done that because he's had his blinders on. He's developed a great routine, a great work ethic, has really got to know and trust who he works with and where he can find things here. And he's just, so he's had, obviously had a really good year. He win 16 games or whatever. Super consistent for us. Had some bumps in the road along the way, but those bumps didn't derail him because it was about the process. It was about the 5-6 days. I'm just chopping wood every week here to get ready for my next start. Make adjustments I got to do, get my work in. But that's all Carlos. And it's not easy, to play here sometimes, especially when you come in as a big signing and you struggle and you fail a little bit and you fall on your face. He picked himself up, and that's credit to him. And it's because of the work he put in to get himself in this position.
Same row, a bit further to your right, Barry.
Aaron, apologize if you've been asked this earlier in the postseason, but
Apologize.
yeah, Soto, watching a season's worth of Soto's at bats, what did you grow to appreciate, and then maybe apply that to meeting the moment in the postseason?
Yeah, the combination of the battle that ensues and but a theatrical element to it too. It's, you don't want to miss his ABs. I can't tell you how many at bats there were this year. 0-2, you're just all right, this is 4 or 5 more pitches and gonna end with something good. He's just so good at his craft. And then his flair for the dramatic and meeting the moment, I'll go back to spring training too. First game, all eyes on Juan Soto, right? What's this gonna look like? And just a spring training game, but it was a big deal. Boom, homer right away, and it's oh, okay. Go to Houston, opening day, boom, big hit after big hit, big throw out at the plate. He's had so many here's the big spot moments throughout the year, obviously in Cleveland, in the clincher. He's definitely has that flair for the dramatic. He has a lot of confidence in those situations because obviously he's really good, but his work and his process and his discipline is, outstanding.
Go across the aisle to Zach on your left.
What have you just thought of overall the year Verdugo has had, and especially kind of what he's done for you in the playoffs?
Yeah. So I overall the defense has been outstanding. We thought it was going to be good. I think it was better than we expected, even, especially in our left field, how important that is. He's been great from day one to now. Offensively, overall, a little bit of a down year for him. Really, I thought got off to a really good start the first couple of months. A lot of big hits, a lot of big plays. And then kind of struggled, frankly, in the second half. And, to the point of lost some playing time at the end of the year and kind of auditioning some certain things. But I think at the end of the day, like, he's a really good hitter. Like, he's kind of a born hitter. On balance, we'll look back on this year and you'll look at the numbers at a little bit of a down year, I think, by his standards. But this guy can hit. And, it's baseball sometimes. Like, sometimes great, good, mediocre, you're going to struggle. And every year's a little bit different. He had a stretch where he struggled a little bit, but he can hit. And I feel like he's had a lot of big at-bats for us here in the postseason. And continued the outstanding defense.
7 rows back on your right, Bob.
Aaron, last night when you scored the 5 runs in the 8th inning, how advantageous was that to be able to take Luke Weaver out of that game to give some more bullets tonight?
Yeah, very. Because he was going back out there, with probably a 3-4 run lead, which maybe takes him out of today potentially, or at least compromises them a little bit. So hopefully, that's one of those innings that, hopefully serves us well. But I think it was important.
And can he do this during the regular season, say next year too, as far as just multiple innings, almost like the old school days with like Goose Gossage?
I mean, I think he's capable of it. It's just tough to say. I mean, a lot of that's dependent on what the makeup of your team and your bullpen and time and place in the season. So, like, what makes more sense? Is it to have him 2 out of 3 days to be able to close and 1 inning scenarios? There's different times of year, 1+, but I think his command and control allow him to be efficient enough to where, and his athleticism allows him to be efficient enough to where I think there's a lot of times where, for example, this year he's gone 4 outs or 5 outs, whatever it may be, and typically he's very pitch efficient, so it lends itself to being able to do that a little bit.
We'll finish up with Eric up front on the right, and then Yvonne.
Thanks. Aaron, you spoke a little bit to the energy of the crowd last night. Upon further reflection, how impactful was that, particularly after Volpe, and how much carryover do you think going into today and having sort of a different energy than maybe Monday?
Yeah. I think the way I said it is, like, I felt like they were waiting for like 48 hours to erupt, and obviously we didn't get much going in Game 3, and kind of fell behind and didn't push anything across until Doogie's homer in the 9th. So I felt like the homer definitely was just explosion of emotion that was bottled up for the last 48 hours, ready to go. And I think it definitely, it was awesome. I mean, I thought it was great, and hopefully played a factor in, us continuing to, put together a really good game, and hopefully is something that kind of carries over tonight.
I'll finish up with Yvonne right up front.
Aaron, I'd like to know your opinion about that incident that happened last night between Mookie Betts and the Yankees fans, if you have one.
Yeah, not good. There's no place for that. I mean, simple as that. Like, come here, cheer, root for your team, whatever. No place for that. Should never have hands on anyone, and just not okay.
Aaron, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.